So we're just going to show you how to set up the AQUAbox Spyder. It's designed for a square raised bed up to 1.2 square meters or 4 square feet. So I'll show you the contents first. So you receive an AutoPot brochure, instruction sheets, a length of 9mm pipe, 6 meters of capillary matting, a click fit connector that fits on a standard hose water tank. If your tap isn't a click fit or a hose or lock connector, you can just remove this fitting and push the pipe onto the tap. This fitting also comes undone and has a filter inside. It can go either way, so it doesn't matter. And then just tighten it up by hand, or you can use some mole grips if you want to make it tighter. And then the AQUAbox, which is a clam-shaped object, with the AQUAvalve, which fits on this T section here. The half moon is pushed onto the T section there, and there's a series of 12 fins where you tuck the matting into. And then you have a 9mm top hat grommet, which is pushed into the hole on the bottom of the AQUAbox Spyder. And then you also have a circular spirit level that fits into the top of the AQUAbox Spyder. When you receive your AQUAbox Spyder, firstly take your circular spirit level and push it into the top of the AQUAbox Spyder. That will ensure that once it's in position, you can see that it's level. Secondly, take your 9mm top hat grommet and push it into the hole from outside in, and that's where the pipe will be pushed through. So now your AQUAbox is ready to install the AQUAvalve. Once you've positioned your circular spirit level and your 9mm top hat grommet, the next thing to do is to take your length of 9mm pipe and push it through the grommet. If you find it difficult to push through, then wet the end of the pipe and it will slide through easily. Pull a certain amount through, then take your AQUAvalve, firstly ensuring that the top silicone is firmly pushed into the hole there, and the AQUAvalve top float sits parallel on the hole below, just there. Then remove the collar, thread the collar over the end of the pipe that's inside the box, then take your AQUAvalve, push it onto the pipe, and then thread your collar back onto the AQUAvalve. When you feel it grip, stop. There's no point over tightening, it's not necessary. Then pull the pipe back through the hole, and what you're trying to do is locate the half moon section here onto the T section in the valve. Once you've located them, then you can push down firmly. So I'll pull that through. I've located it onto the T section, and I'll push on the main body only and firmly push down. Now that's ready. Close the lid, and if you notice in the raised bed I made a slight volcano, a very slight gradient away from the centre, and this is how the water is distributed via the matting. So what I will do is then position with the lid closed the AQUAbox Spyder onto there, and the pipe's going to head towards the tank that way, and then that's now ready to have the capillary matting connected to it. So what I'm going to do now, I'll open up the AQUAbox Spyder, and then I'm going to cut the matting lengths so it runs around the edge of the box, and tuck it inside here, and then tuck it inside the fins here. So quite simply, I'll thread it up through there, pull it through, and then what I like to do, I like to roll the end a little bit, and then I can push it and it jams in the fin. So if I push that down there, you might want to get a pair of scissors to help it go all the way to the bottom. So if I grab a pair of scissors I'll push that all the way down so it's right at the bottom here. Doesn't matter which way this matting goes, it can go that way or that way. And then literally I'll run it. It doesn't have to go right to the edge, probably several inches away. And then I'll cut that matting, and that strip's now ready. And then I'll repeat it 11 times all the way around. So if I thread that through, make a little turn on the end, tuck it down in between the fin, get a pair of scissors so that it touches the bottom of the box, look at the direction, and then cut it. There. So you can now see that all the capillary strips are now spread out like a spider. All the ends are tucked into the tongs there, and now that's ready to be set up and connected to the reservoir. So now you've set up all the matting, you now close the lid. If you have any debris in there, you can always just pick it up, shake it out, and make sure it's nice and clean inside the AQUAvalve box or the clam-shaped shell. Close the lid, make sure it's closed, and then just firm down a little bit. And then what you do is you top up with more topsoil or peat, or you can use whatever you want really with the AQUAbox Spyders. Doesn't really matter, because the water will travel down the wicks. So I just fill it up, and then what I'll do, once I've filled it up over the top, I'll then spread it out, cover the strips, and then it'll be literally connect to a reservoir, and we're ready to go. So I then simply just spread this out, covering all the strips to the edge of the bed. I can push the end strips down a little bit if you want to give a bit more of a gradient. Ideally you do this before you put the soil on, but what you're after is a slight gradient, not too steep a gradient. Firm that down. And then the AQUAbox, once you're completed, will just be sitting proud of the soil, so that you can inspect the AQUAvalve if you want to from time to time. Need a little bit more soil on there. I use the rest of the bag. And anything you grow in raised beds, you can grow with the AQUAbox Spyder, because it will irrigate them all. And what happens is, once you plant up, the roots will head towards the capillary strips, attach themselves to the capillary strips, and then draw the water from the capillary strips, and the water will draw it from the box as and when the plants need it. So underneath this level, the gradients of the matting are slightly sloping away. So as I said, you can push the matting down before you put the soil in, just to give you a better indication that you've got the gradients not too steep and not too shallow. So that's now ready. I firm down around the AQUAbox just with my hands, and then what I'll do is then I'll water it through first, and then I'll plant up. So that's pretty much ready for the plants. So once you're happy that you've set up your AQUAbox Spyder and filled up the soil, just one last thing, just double check that you've got it as level as possible by the bubble inside the circular spirit level, and then take a watering can or a hose pipe or a lance, and you can water through So you thoroughly wet the soil in preparation for the plants. I always water through first and then let the plant up and then let the plants establish before I turn the AQUAbox on full time. Because if you imagine you water this raised bed, this is a metre raised bed, if you water this through thoroughly, there's a large amount of moisture in the water, in the soil, and that can supply the plants for many, many weeks. Also, if it rains heavily, you can turn your AQUAbox off at the tap on the reservoir, and then once it's finished raining, you can turn it back on again a couple of days later. So thoroughly, that'll want quite a few more watering cans. And then once you're happy that you've watered it through, that's now ready to plant up. So once you've watered your raised bed through thoroughly, then you're ready to connect to a reservoir. So as standard, the AQUAbox Spyder comes with the clip fit connector with a 9mm inline filter. You can, the other option, which I'm going to use, is a hole in any plastic container, water holding container, a 12mm hole using a drill, not a drill bit, but a step drill, a 12mm hole, and then simply cut the pipe to length and then connect to the tap there. If I was going to connect it to a water butt or a large reservoir, I'd simply push this fitting onto the tap and then push that onto there. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to connect it to this reservoir in my R&D room, and that tap's turned off. So that's now ready. If I show you a quick video of how it works. So if I turn the tap on, you'll see the water start to come into here, and then what happens, once it's full, the AQUAvalve will turn off, shut the water, all the capillary strips will pull the water out, and then when the level goes to 0, then the AQUAvalve will reopen. So that's now flooded to its maximum level, and then over a period of time, half an hour to an hour, then the water will get pulled out via the capillary wicks. In the early part of the season, if you want to, once you've watered your bed through, you can tuck matting, every other one, so you're only using 6 and not 12, on the shelf. So this one up, that one down, this one up, that one down, if you want to. And then as the plants grow bigger, then you can literally just tuck those back down, making sure they go all the way down to the bottom of the box, and then just keep the lid closed. So I'm now going to show you how to plant up. So I'm now going to plant up this raised bed. I'm just going to grow herbs in it. So I've got a selection of basil, lemon basil, or holy basil from Thailand, and I've got some parsley. So it's really easy. I'll just take some of this Italian basil. I just dig a hole wherever. If you bump into the strip, don't worry too much. Just if you bump into it, then just go slightly to the side of it. And then all I'll do, these are cardboard pots, so I can plant the pot up, or the plant up, with that in there. Don't take the plant out. And then literally just plant up like you would any other raised bed, really. So if I take another and plant this one, say here, bearing in mind they're going to grow, and they'll grow quite large. Plant that in there. Make the hole a bit bigger. Should really use a trowel, but never mind. So plant that in there, backfill a little bit, and then just repeat the process all the way around with the herbs. So I'm going to do this area with sweet basil, and then the other area with parsley, and the other area with other plants. And then once you've planted up, then just water through, and then you're ready, and just let the plants establish. No need to turn on your AQUAbox Spyder straight away. And then once the plants have nicely established, you can turn it on, and you can pulse it if you want to. You can let it run for a day and turn it off for a couple of days until the plants are fully established. Then just turn it on full time, because the roots will head towards the capillary strips. They'll attach themselves to the capillary strips under the ground, under the level of the soil, and then they'll draw the moisture off the strips, and in turn the strips will draw the water out of the AQUAbox Spyder, and that's how it works. So it keeps plants beautifully watered and irrigated and fed. You can add feed in the reservoir as well if you want to. And you can use any size reservoir. You can have lots of raised beds all linked together off one large tank, or you can have one independent bed just running off one tank. So that's pretty much how you set up the AQUAbox Spyder.